Okay guys, I know I already made a video like this, but I just want to point out how badly the Democrats messed up. According to the numbers that are out there right now, Trump made $53 million in 24 hours from that conviction that they did over in New York City. A lot of people are coming out against it. So many people that hadn't endorsed a candidate or endorsed a Democrat in the past have come out in support of Donald Trump. And one of the people I think who might have actually came out to support Donald Trump was Kevin O'Leary. And I was thinking about this last night, but it would make a little bit of sense, right? He's been on like every news station just complaining over and over and over again on how like this conviction, like how this entire trial hurts New York City and how people want to pull out of the city, how a bunch of his investor friends want to pull out every cent they have in the state because of this. And honestly, I don't blame him. But we know that there was an anonymous donor that donated $800,000 in one go after the conviction. And Kevin O'Leary is actually worth like $400 million. Now that's not an all liquid assets. It's like Trump where he's got a bunch of money and property and other assets that he can't just turn into cash money to give to people. But I had to wonder if not the $800,000 is if he actually gave that money, uh, gave a bunch of money to the Trump campaign anonymously. I wouldn't be surprised, and he would do it anonymously too. That would only make sense given the fact that if he was caught donating to the Trump campaign, even as a Canadian, I think he's allowed to vote in our elections. I'm pretty sure he's an American citizen. But if he was giving money to the Trump campaign, they'll never have him on CNN, MSNBC, NBC anymore. After all, uh, Ronald McDaniel was hired by NBC, and all of the commentators came out against her, and she got fired within like a week of her actually being hired. She got to go on one show, and it wasn't even when she was actually working for NBC. So you can imagine how big the backlash would be. But like if you actually look in celebrity endorsements, I know Benny Johnson was going through this. Now, celebrity endorsements don't matter as much as you might think, but people who are relatively ignorant about the elections may get like, well, this guy I really respect wants to vote for this dude, so he must know what he's talking about. And that was the case for a lot of people who voted for Biden in 2020. Well, now a lot of those celebrities are refusing to back Joe or they're backing Trump. In fact, there are people who are coming out that said that they voted for Obama, they voted for Hillary, they voted for Joe Biden, who are now coming out and being like, no, this is BS. And I've been watching a lot of the conservative commentators about what's been going on, like the Treehouse News, Benny Johnson, um, Anthony Bryan Logan, Tim Pool. I mean, Tim Pool is kind of a leftist, but Valuetainment, a whole bunch of guys, probably along the lines of like 2 to 3 dozen different people going over this, including Razor Fist and Styx Hexenhammer. And the consensus seems to be that this is helping Trump immensely. Now, there's a certain cap to how many years in prison or how much money Trump can be fined for these felonious charges, and more than likely, these felonies are going to be overturned. Maybe not before the election, but they're definitely going to be overturned. Now they had to go through the New York appeals court first, who will deny it because, let's face it, it's New York City, and a lot of those judges are highly, highly corrupt. Hold on one second. Yeah, sorry about that. Just had to take care of something real quick. Anyways, you're gonna see a little cut, a jump there that's not gonna look very good, but hey, what it is. But all these conservative commentators are basically in agreement that this is probably gonna help Trump more than anything. And again, not gonna cope. There are gonna be people out there who are again pretty ignorant who are just gonna look at this and be like, hell no, I can't vote for a felon. But there are gonna be other people out here who like, I can't believe that this guy, like the guy who's in the lead in the election right now. I may not like him, but I don't want him to go to jail. I mean, he's the president of the United States. That just looks bad, right? There's going to be a lot of people who are, again, not very well informed who are just going to look at this and be like, we're going to put our first prisoner into office, and that's awesome. I mean, hey, man, it is what it is, but the biggest question here is, will Trump get the 74 million votes that he got in the last election, or will he get more, or will he get less? We know for sure that Biden is going to get less, just because of like how insane everything has gotten, and all these people who are coming out against Joe Biden. But like, how much? I have no idea. Now, that $53 million, according to the articles I was looking at, say that $53 million is about half of what Trump got in the entire month of April. So he has gotten, in 24 hours, more money than any other presidential candidate has ever gotten in a single go. And the last record was broken by Trump. And the record before that was also Trump's. So 3 times in one election season, Trump has broken the amount of money raised. It's absolutely insane how quickly the gap is closing. And more than likely, he's not going to have to pay E. Jean Carroll anytime soon. He's not going to have to pay, he's not going to be tried in Florida. He's not going to be tried in D.C. He's not going to be tried in Georgia. So things are actually looking up really well for Trump right now, incredibly, despite the fact that he's been convicted of these completely bogus charges. And I'd like to shout out Matt Walsh, of all people. Like, the guy is a total boomer. He's part of an organization that screwed over Candace Owens. But I wasn't the biggest fan of Candace, but even I could tell that what happened to her was complete BS. But when it came to Matt Walsh's video on the Trump case, he made probably one of the best videos breaking down exactly what happened in that case and why it was so BS. For example, Trump actually labeling his payments, his legal expenses to his lawyer as legal expenses actually meant that New York City actually got more tax funds from that expense than if he had labeled it as an election finance. So one of the 3 crimes that Trump supposedly could have committed by forging these documents was pay the city of New York too much money in taxes, which means that they could throw him in jail for 147 years for paying too many taxes, which is the exact opposite of what happened to Al Capone. And Al Capone got hit with less charges than Donald Trump is. Now, I say 147 years, but most of it will be concurrently if he's jailed at all. And Count Dankula was basically saying, this is Count Dankula speaking, but he said that he hopes that they try to throw Donald Trump in jail because it would just wake up so many people on how BS all this is. Especially since the sentencing is only 4 days before the Republican National Convention. You can imagine the outrage from that. And again, to all my conservative fans out there, be peaceful. Don't do anything stupid. Donate your money. Go out there. Don't go to protests. Go out there. Knock on doors. Get people registered as Republican. Harvest ballots if it's legal in your area. Do whatever you can to help Trump win, but don't go out into a protest because more than likely there will be like FBI or other agencies out there trying to incite riots so they can lock your ass up so you can't vote, basically. That they can point to you and be like, look at these violent extremists. And we all know that BLM and Antifa are way more violent than we ever could be. I mean, violent in the sense of unreasonable violence. So, again, just don't go out and protest. Just do what you're supposed to. Get out there and vote. Vote early. And try to get as many people as you can vote to vote Republican as you can. I'm trying to convince people right now that Trump is our guy. Going to friends on Facebook, on Twitter, and being like, hey, you voting for Trump? What are you doing, huh? And then explain to them, like, the court cases, like the inflation, how it's all linked back to Biden, how we had peace under Trump, how we had a good economy under Trump, except for COVID, which is unlikely to ever happen again. And one of the people that actually changed their mind on Donald Trump was Guns and Gadgets 2A, which is a YouTube channel. And one reason why he didn't like Trump was because of he made the bump stock ban, and he helped the ATF make it harder for silencers or suppressors to be purchased. And he basically said, like, hey guys, can you go into the comment section and say if you think whether or not Trump has changed his mind. And my whole thing with this is, I went into the comment section and I said something like, listen, G&G, I don't think Trump thinks at all very much about the Second Amendment. I think that he knows that the Second Amendment exists and it's important, but it's not his top priority. He is like a general in that respect. He listens to a lot of advisors and people around him who know more about these subjects in order to make the best decision possible. Like when he banned paying for gender transitions in the military, he was listening to John Mattis at the time. And I think in retrospect, I think he made the right decision just because, I mean, looking at the influencers who are using their transness to try to promote the military, it makes us look unbelievably weak and crazy. It's just not, it's not the thing that red-blooded Americans who want to volunteer in the military want to see. It's not that they're like offended or don't like these people. It's just that they have certain values they want to uphold, and they don't want to be part of an organization that pushes values that go against what they believe, but also because they would have to live with these people. And a lot of these people are, well, let's face it, a lot of the trans stuff comes out of communism. And that's another video for another time for me to explain exactly how that works, but it's not a good look for the military, and definitely does not get more people enlisted. But for Trump, I mean, he's been protected his entire life by security. There are other people who protect him. Now, he did tell a story where he saw a mugging at the side of the road, and he told his chauffeur to pull over. And he went into the back of his car and grabbed out a baseball bat. And he threatened the guy and got him to go away. Now, that was decades ago where people were a little bit less crazy and they were a little bit more intimidated. And they knew what would happen if they tried to like attack Donald Trump. And I believe Donald Trump did that, by the way. It just makes a lot of sense to me that that is something he would do. I mean, the guy is. I, I want to say this without being offensive or insulting him, but Trump is kind of nuts, man. I mean, he stands up for what he believes in, and he has said some crazy crap in the past, and I respect him completely for it. In fact, I agree with a lot of the stuff he says. And I can see a red blooded American like Donald Trump threatening a mugger with a baseball bat. That is just so Trump. It just makes so much sense. But even if it isn't true, even if that wasn't what happened, I mean, Donald Trump has always had the muscle around him in order to alleviate situations like that. He's had fights in his clubs before. Like, he knows what kind of things go into security and protecting yourself and protecting the people around you. But if you really want to get Trump to be more pro-A, he has changed his views a lot since he ran in 2004. And a lot of the stuff that he doesn't feel strongly about, he goes with what the people wants because he wants to represent the people. He wants to represent us. Even if it's not something that he himself feels strongly about, he will go out of his way to listen to his advisors and ask them what the American people want and then go from there. So if you want, I said to G and G on in his comment section, and I doubt he'll see it because there's so many comments and I was like a day and a half late after that video came out. But if you want to convince Trump to be more Second Amendment oriented, you have to talk to his advisors. And people that are lower on the totem pole that you can reach, like Ted Cruz or Tulsi Gabbard or Vivek Ramaswamy, go talk to them. If you're going to the RNC convention, for example, look for guys that will most likely be part of his cabinet and really stress to them that you want gun restrictions to be decreased countrywide. And you want the Supreme Court's decision to be upheld. Okay, guys? And that's true of anything that you want Trump to do. Trump is going to be doing a lot of stuff. Project 47 is something that Democrats fearmonger a lot about. But it's basically what Milei did in Argentina. It's just cut back on all the bloat and corruption and government oversight and shrink the government so it's not as powerful so that the free market can have a little bit more breathing room. And that we stop being spied upon all the time. That's all it is, and that's what we need right now. Trump will start deporting people. He will still use the systems in place to get rid of the terrorists and the drug dealers and the cartel that are inside of America. But we don't want them targeting us because we haven't done anything wrong. But they're spying on us anyways. They're taking all our data. They're making a database of all our information. And it's disgusting. It violates our rights by the Constitution. So go out there, vote. Go out there, donate. Go out there, knock on doors. Register people to vote. Put up a sign, for God's sakes. Put up stickers that say vote for Trump. Stuff like that. You can put stuff on lampposts and crossing lights. I mean, not on the light itself, but the poles for the crossing lights. Make sure that everyone in the country knows that we want Trump and that they should vote for Trump. Okay? Anyways, I'm going to call it there. I've been kind of rambling. I'm trying to still figure out what I'm going to call this video since it's more of a rambly video. But hey, it is what it is. Anyways, you guys will see the title when it comes out. Anyways, bye guys.